my group is the first group that he stops to say, what is this? People think that Amber got cut because she was helping me.
Dominique, please, Lord have mercy.
Did you say going to a Diddy party? Yes. Was there baby oil included or not? Thank you, Amber. I love you down. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Everybody checking for me, so I ain't got no choice but to prove that I ain't gonna fold under pressure. I'm just doing what I do. This is for everybody pulling for me. I'm a make a believer to you. Hi, you might remember me from Making the Band 3 Season 2. I'm not lose, no.
My people, my people, my people. Welcome to Storytelling with Dominique Renee. I am super excited once again to be here with you telling what? My story. So we are currently on the topic of Making the Band 3 Season 2, which I was featured on 20 years ago. It still feels crazy to think and to feel and to know that it was that long ago that I was on that show. But last week we talked about how I got on the show and ended at that moment where I was the last person called to enter the house with these other young women to try and compete to be in an international supergroup. Now I'm in the house. Today we're going to talk about a major challenge that I came upon when I got into the house. So we hit the ground running. As soon as you get in there, like I said, we're filming for 2 months, an entire season of a show in 2 months. So there are no lulls. It is a very fast-paced thing and lots of things to adapt to very quickly. So we get in the house, we meet the girls from last season, we all mesh together and start getting to know each other, and everybody's bonding and acting like it's not a competition and it's gonna be so great. And then you realize, oh yeah, I'm here to win. So some of us ain't gonna be here next week and the week after that and the week after that. So for me, it was easy to adapt to the format of the show, which was basically a challenge of some sort every week, an artistic challenge of some sort every week, and cuts being made off of that. It was easy to adapt to being in the house with all those people. I'm from a huge family. I have 14, I am not exaggerating or joking. I have 14 siblings and come from a really, really big family. Being around all those people, no problem. It was easy to adapt to the cameras in my face, which I actually thought I was going to be worried about, but truthfully, only in moments of real vulnerability. Moments where you crying, you sad, you hurt, you angry, where you think that's the moment where you think you're going to get privacy, and it's the full opposite when you're filming a reality show. So yes, soon as they hear a tear drop, a yell, a scream, cameramen running in and they right here. Like, I want to jab you in your throat. Please get out of my face. But I signed up for a reality show. All that stuff I adapted to, and I adapted to quickly, and I felt good about, fine about. First week, what's the challenge? Singing. Easy peasy, that's why I'm here, right? That's what I do, I sing. We do this whole singing competition. Everybody's got to harmonize. You got to get in groups. We got to sing in Times Square, which is super cool because I'm born and raised in New York City, and that's where you make it happen.
Don't you know sit alright, with my head hanging down, and I wonder who's loving you.
make cuts for real. The first set of cuts happened and 3 girls went home and things got a little more real there. And immediately after that, Diddy says, yeah, y'all thought y'all was here just to sing. Don't forget y'all here to dance.
If I call your name, please know that there's many reasons why I'm gonna be making these different cuts. When I'm putting this group together, I'm looking for different things. So please keep pursuing your dream if I call your name. Going home today is Nicole, Tokiko, and Sammy. Thank you. Honestly, y'all did a great job singing, getting yourselves together. But sometime next week, I don't know when, I will be cutting. I will be judging her on determination, on passion, and last but not least, dancing. If you can't dance, you better go to a club and figure it out or something.
I am immediately shook when that announcement is made. Because if you'll recall from last week, and I definitely recall from 20 years ago, I learned in the auditions that I didn't have what it took when it came to dancing. I did enough to get myself in the house, but it was not lost on me who I was dancing next to and the skill set that a lot of these women, not all of them, some were in my shoes, but that a lot of these women had. I've made it this far, feeling like by the skin of my teeth, made it onto this show. And that accomplishment boosts your confidence. You like, okay, I'm here. I'm with you. Like, we're going to do this. Then Diddy says, I'm cutting asses based on dance. And it's like, confidence gone. I was like, all right, kid, you gave it your all. And whatever happens next week, happens. That was my mentality. The very first day of dance rehearsal, I know I'm in trouble. Because Lorianne had to call my name. I mean, I feel like it was a broken record. Dominique, what are you doing?
7, 8, Dominique, don't get lost behind her. Coming down, stay with them back. Dominique, can you make sure you stay in your lane? Back line, come through on this. Dominique, please, Lord have mercy. Goom, pop! Dominique, let's get down in that pot. I want to see boom, cack-a-lip, bop, bop, bop. Okay? Here we go with music from the top. No, Dominique, not sure what's going on with you. Out the gate, you got the step wrong. Don't bounce it so much. You understand? Boom, a boom, boom, cack, and live. Picture. Hold your picture, little muffin.
It was just, I wasn't getting it, okay? I'm trying to get the moves. It doesn't look like everybody else's. I don't have the things. I may have the steps, but I don't have the things. And that it's so clear from the very first rehearsal. I'm getting called out left and right. And that thing is continuing to happen throughout the week. As we're rehearsing, I'm not getting the steps. I'm losing confidence. And enter Amber. There are all these girls. Amber is one of the girls that I clicked with immediately. And she's a dancer, from at least better than me. So we are in the apartment rehearsing together at night. I'm like, I may be going home, but I am going to give it my all and try my best to get with it. Amber and I are practicing, and honestly, practicing with her helped me. It gave me more confidence. She's like, girl, come on, you got it. She's working with me. Now my confidence then went down here, and then it like starts to build up a little bit. Wake up the next day, who shows up? Diddy. So I am thinking, okay, we about to go dance. Let's get it. I have my mind in the right place in that moment based on how hard I'm working, even though the results are not necessarily showing up on the dance floor. And in reality TV fashion, in Diddy fashion, we're not going to dance. He takes us to Central Park and tells us that it's so important to be in shape and y'all need to run 6 miles.
You're going to be pushed to the limits every day, and I don't really want to be around any quitters. You're going to run 6 miles.
I'm a lot of positive things. I have many, many talents. I can sit here and toot my own horn on so many different areas of life. Running? No. All things working out are not my thing. Have I dibble and dabble here and there where I need to. You know, I gotta stay healthy. I gotta live. But running, I'm not a runner. I'm not a runner, as evidenced by my reaction to having to run 6 miles.
I've never run a long distance in my entire life. I do not run unless I'm being chased.
I'm thinking that we're going to dance. We're not going to dance. We're going to run. Okay, now whatever. You just blew my day, but cool. Let's go back to the house. Except we don't go back to the house. We go straight to the dance studio, and not any old dance studio. We go to Alvin Ailey. So when we go to Alvin Ailey, I'm like, oh, okay, we about to learn. This is going to be educational. We're going to meet some amazing people here. This is going to be a theatrical experience. In our basketball shorts, sweats, leggings, t-shirts, Diddy is like, this is the moment where you're going to dance, show me the choreography you've been learning, and somebody going home. Everybody's devastated. Everybody's devastated, including me. But at this point, first of all, I'm already exhausted. We're all exhausted. And I've learned what I could learn. I practiced what I could practice. And I'm going to do whatever I can do at this point. I remember feeling like, okay, can't give you anything I ain't got, right? I've tried, I've practiced, I've rehearsed. I have not done well in those things, and yet I have done those things. And here we go. So we get into it, and my group is the first group that he stops to say, what is this?
Group 6, come up.
It was very hard because I have never run that kind of distance in my life. So dancing right after that, I'm exhausted.
What y'all dancing to? Take it from the top.
At the moment when Diddy stops us, in my mind, I'm kind of like, clearly I'm not doing the job that I need to be doing.
Dominique, bah! Out the gate, you got the step wrong. Please, Lord, have mercy.
When he gave us the opportunity to come back on, I just said to myself, give it your all. You can't play around.
Y'all know the routine? Somebody show me they know the routine. Come on, y'all.
There's no second chance with Diddy.
Where's it going? 4? 4, come on up.
I don't know if he loved it or hated it, but I know I gave him my all.
So I gotta be going home. Like it's all coming together, and it's seeming like you came out of the auditions knowing that you ain't really have it like that dancing wise, and that as soon as we got past that little singing competition where you did so well, we got to dance. This is the area I did not adapt well to. We were lined up, ready for Diddy to call the names of the people who are going home. And the first name called is Amber.
I was clear. Dancing was a criteria. I feel like 70% of y'all have a lot of work to do. So the young ladies that are going home today, Amber.
Then there's a second name, and there's a third name, and none of them are Dominique. I am obviously so glad in that moment my name wasn't called. I'm not going home. I'm a little shocked. I don't want to front because I was in the bottom crux, not the top. But Amber, my girl, first of all, she dances so much better than me that she has been literally helping me. Second of all, we've been bonding, we've been growing, we've been, that's been my buddy since I got here, my peoples. I was devastated. I was devastated to hear Amber's name. At that moment, she was the person I was the closest to. And we had only been there a couple weeks, but like I said, it was a grueling couple of weeks. She's got to go. We hug it out. We cry. We have our time. And a lot of that probably wasn't on camera because they take them out pretty quickly when they go home. And then there are like swirlings. Like, nobody's saying it directly to me, but I'm getting a sense from the little chitter chatter here and the chitter chatter there that people think that Amber got cut because she was helping me. Like I guess you so focused on Dominique that, helping Dominique that you ain't got your own ish together. More devastation because stop, that can't be it. Like, what? Then you start questioning yourself like, dang, did my people leave because of me? Like, that's not right. I still want to be here. I still want to compete, no doubt, but it hurt to see Amber go. It really did. That was my people and remained my people. Like, we stayed in touch throughout that year and for years beyond. So much so that when I thought about talking about this moment, I said, duh, who better to bring on the show to talk about it than Amber herself? I want to clear this up because it's been 20 years of this little rumor, whether it was two people talking about it or the millions that were watching on MTV. I need to clear my name. And so, yeah, Amber's going to be joining us today. A, because I miss my girl. B, because I want to have her tell directly to the world her version of why she got cut from the show. And if she thinks it had anything to do with me and anything to do with my dancing. We're also going to learn how she got on Making the Band. I talked to you guys last week about how I got on. Let's learn about what they was doing all the way over on the West Coast when they did their auditions there. I am just so excited for y'all to meet my girl Amber again. Y'all done already seen her on TV, but let's get into it. Amber! Dominique! Oh my goodness, girl. My level of excitement right now in seeing you.
I know. It's been way too long. I keep
It's
teasing.
been too long. Oh my goodness. Welcome to
Thank you.
Storytelling with Dominique Renee. I
Thank
am
you.
over the moon about having you here with me. My dear Making the Band alum friend.
I know.
Okay. People don't even know how we like stay connected over the years. Like, we
Yes.
gotta get into it. We gotta get into it.
Yeah.
In the episode or episodes before you joined me today, basically I started talking to the people about my experience, to my people about my experience on the show. And I started with how I ended up on Making the Band. So I told the story of what was going on in my life at the time and how I ended up right next to you. And so my first question for you is, do you remember where you were when you learned about the Making the Band opportunity?
At the time, I was working at Home Depot. I was
Okay.
working at Home Depot, and I had literally just had my son like a month prior.
To making the band?
Yeah. All my coworkers were just like, girl, you don't belong here at Home Depot. You need to go ahead and try out for that group. So I drove to LA. I drove to LA because I was still living in the Bay. I was still living in Oakland. It was me and two of my closest friends. And we stood in line. It was freezing cold. And by the time we got up there, because we were there for like, we were in line all day. By the time I had my audition, my voice was gone. And I had to sing in front of, not Doc Holliday. What's the other one? He always wore a baseball cap.
Johnny Wright.
Johnny Wright. I had to sing in front of Johnny Wright, and nothing would come out. So I had to go back home with my tail tucked between my legs. Had to watch the first season, with like all these people and stuff like that get on there, and I was like, God dang it. I could have made it, but then
Oh my gosh, I'm putting two and two together. You're saying you tried out for Making the Band 3 season 1, not our season. You tried out. Girl, I know that.
yes, I tried out for the first one, and I didn't make it because my voice, and Johnny Wright was like, better luck next time. So
Yeah.
I had to watch the whole first season, and then when Diddy was like, this one ain't it, I gotta do some more auditions and stuff. I'm coming to San Francisco. I was like, bet I'm gonna make this one. So same thing from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. standing in line waiting, and then I had to audition in front of Johnny Wright again, and I sung Dangerously in Love, and he was like, I remember you from the last audition. And I was like, yes. He said, you got your voice this time? And I said, hell yeah. So then the next day, they had you do the whole singing and dancing, and then they had us switching rooms and stuff, and you didn't know which room they were going to come into to tell people, yeah, you didn't make it. Like, sorry, the next room made it, you guys didn't.
Do you remember how many girls made it from San Francisco to New York?
It was maybe like three or four people from San Francisco.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What goes through your brain? Because you're like, opportunity, but I'm a mom. Like, what happened next for you?
First, I cried because I'm a crybaby.
Me too.
I called my mom and was like boo-hooing on the phone. She thought something else happened, but I'm boo-hooing on the phone with her. Like, I made it on to Making a Man. She's like, what the hell is to Making a Man? I was like, with Diddy. And she was like, what? She's like screaming into the phone and everything. I remember feeling extremely excited. Okay, so prior to me doing the show, I had been in a group with like Keisha Cole and was like doing the damn thing, and then I met my kid's dad. When we were in the group, we had opened up for like Jagged Edge, and we
Girl,
had
hold up. Because girl, we done known each other now 20 years. How did I not know you were in a singing group with Keisha Cole?
she was in the group for a very brief time. It was me and this other young lady named Fendi. We had created the group. We were supposed to be songwriters, but we ended up just saying, F it, we just gonna be a singing group. And we were looking for people, and I remember walking up to Keisha Cole on the street and was like, do you sing? And she was like, yeah. I was like, oh, our studio is right down the street, let's hear you. And so she was in the group for maybe like a month, 2 months, but she kept clashing with management. So, they got rid of her. But like, we ended up replacing her with this other girl named Candace Jones. We opened up for Jagged Edge. Then we got a deal on the table with So Def. And literally days before we signed, one of the girls dropped out.
Oh my goodness.
So around that time, I had just met my kid's dad, and I got pregnant fast. I got pregnant fast. So
pregnant fast.
I was kind of thrown into motherhood. So I had my daughter, and then 2.5 years later, then I had my son, and then that's when the whole Making the Band thing happened. So it was kind of like Oh, okay. Let me get back into this music thing because although I love being a mom, this was not supposed to be my life.
Yeah.
I had just got a job at Kaiser as a pharmacy tech. And I was like, look, I have a once in a lifetime opportunity to go to New York to be on this show called Making the Band. I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, but could you guys give me at least a week or two just to do this? They were like, nope, you got to decide either do the show or quit. I was like, all right, I quit.
Okay.
I was still in
Wow.
training.
So what's so funny about us connecting and you coming from Cali is that I had an internship lined up in California with Wells Fargo before this
Mm-hmm.
opportunity came, and it was a paid internship, and I was super hyped. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to California, and this was going to be my first time going to California. So I make it in the DC audition, and I had to decide if I was going to let this opportunity go to the wayside and go to California, like
Mm-hmm.
worried that I won't make it onto the show, or if I was going to take the risk. And we both clearly took the risk.
Yes, we did.
We
I'm
both
glad
took
we
the
did.
risk.
I'm glad we
Yeah.
did. Yes.
Okay. So we're on stage
Mm-hmm.
at Showtime at the Apollo. Okay.
Did.
Right. Do you remember the moment when you heard your name called?
Yes, I wanted to collapse.
That's where I was going to go. What happened for you?
I'm literally holding my face in because, again, I'm a crybaby. I was boo-hooing on the stage,
Yeah.
and I was nervous. I was shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, I actually made it. They actually like me. And then I remember waiting to hear your name. I kept like, I was in my head like, please call Dominique, please call Dominique, please. Like, because I promise you, from day one, we clicked.
I
And
remember.
I remember thinking, I don't want to do this shit without her. Please call her name. Please call her name. When they called your name, girl, I had to turn around. I was like, oh my
Girl,
God.
and it was my name was the
That
last
last
name they
one,
called.
yes.
We both out here praying.
Yeah.
I'm like, please. And I just was like, okay, all right, we in there. We in there. I'm going. I'm going.
We're
I was
going.
I was so hyped.
I know.
It's so interesting to think back to 20-year-old Dominique
Yeah.
and how captivated. I mean, we were in front of Diddy.
Yeah.
And I know what that name means today in
Now,
2025, considering everything that is happening in his life, which is not my life, but that was
that was
huge.
huge for that was 2005. That was huge for that time.
20-year anniversary. It's a 20-year anniversary right now.
That's insane. We're
So
starting 18, girl.
you mentioned that we clicked.
Yes.
I agree. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that you kind of had a feeling of I don't want to do this without her. So of course I want to know what was your first impression of me when we met?
She's so sweet. I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I clicked with somebody here because, sometimes you never know what personalities you're going to meet. You never know if you're going to meet somebody that's going to be in constant competition with you. Even though we were in competition, I didn't want it to feel like I'm such a girl's girl. I
Mm,
don't want to feel like we're in competition. You win, I win. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I'm hella happy for you if you win. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, yes, God, yes,
So we get to filming. We're in the house.
we're in the house.
What happens for you mentally when we get in the house and into the competition?
I remember we were in the elevator, and this is my first time being on camera. Well, at least, yeah, being on camera. Like, being on stage, fine. But being on camera, I just remember thinking, okay, don't hyperventilate. We're good. We're good. And then we got to the door, and I remember they took hell of long to answer the door. And we could hear them in there. And we were just like, okay, y'all, hurry up and answer the door. Like, what are y'all doing?
I
And
remember
then
this.
Right? We
I
was like,
remember
what is
that moment
happening?
because
We
we were
kept
kind of feeling like
knocking, kept
are
ringing the
y'all being
doorbell.
shady? Like, what's happening?
Right. We was like, are y'all some shady? Like, what is happening? Open the door. And then they finally opened the door. And it was like, I was so happy to see a familiar face, which was Malika.
Mm-hmm.
And we instantly started talking because the group that I was talking about, remember when I said we kept auditioning different girls? Malika was one of them. She was one of the girls that
So
had.
you knew not only did you have Keisha Cole join your singing group for a few minutes or for a few months, you
Mm-hmm.
also knew Malika before she came on the show and before you came on the show.
Yes, because Malika was from Oakland as well. So when she saw me, she was like, Amber.
Wow. All
Yeah.
the
So
connections. It's so funny. They auditioned all these girls from all over the country,
yeah.
and you end up on the show with somebody from your city, from
Right.
your town, who you've been in a singing group with, or who you auditioned for a singing group. That's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely wild. So two of the reasons I thought of you to join me on this show
Mm-hmm.
is things didn't get really real for me on that show until you got cut.
Really.
It felt like, you remember, you just said we clicked instantly. We were tight. Like,
Yeah.
we were a little bit like attached at the hip.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm there for a competition. I know that I'm trying to win. I'm invested. I'm into this. But as I explained in the previous episode, we're also bonding. People are like, we're going through this grueling process together,
Right.
and it's a bonding experience. So, the same way you just said, you win, I win, you win, everybody on the show did not have that mentality.
Right.
And so, I'm kind of chugging along. I'm doing my best and I'm having a good time and we're doing our thing. And when you got cut, it was like, wait a minute, I don't get to go to the end with my friend. It was, it was one of those. Like, of course, I connected with other girls, you connected with other girls. But when you got cut, I was kind of like, dang, this is really do or die. This is
Yeah.
really, let's go all out. And you are tremendously talented. You sing well, you dance well. So that was a big wake up call for me because I was like, wait a minute. I guess I was having fun and getting into the competition, and I don't get to decide who goes to the end. I don't get to decide if I go to the end, but I don't get to decide who goes along on that journey with me. That was rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amber and I've just grown so close over the past couple of weeks. It hurt. I did not expect Amber to be going home at all.
Okay.
The second reason I thought of you for this show is dancing. Because you remember why are we laughing? What?
Because I don't know
Don't call a
who
spade a
created
spade. It's okay.
I don't know who created the narrative that I got cut for helping you, but that was not it.
Girl, so we gotta let the people know. So here's what I remember.
Okay.
You were a great dancer on the show. I mean, you know how to dance. I know how to two-step and I got rhythm. But whatever, they was over there saying, I couldn't dance because I couldn't get the choreography or whatever. I remember you helping me because we help each other all the
Yeah.
time, right? So we'll get into editing and what they did with that later. But you and I were neck and neck, hip and hip. And so, yeah, I'm going to help you with this. You're going to help me with that.
Mm-hmm.
So in that same week that you got cut, of course, there's a narrative created because you are helping me with dancing, and then you get cut.
5, 6, 7.
Okay, can you do it one more time? Sorry. As far as the dancing goes, I'm just so afraid that I'm gonna get sent home because my dancing ability is not up to par.
5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, down.
I didn't shake that time.
I know.
Oh,
Because I was going like this.
Amber just gives me advice. As far as dancing, she tells me, you have the steps, you just need confidence. And that just helped me so much.
So the narrative was Amber got cut because she's so busy helping Dominique with the dance that she ain't doing what she got to do. And I know that ain't true.
No, that was not
What
true at all.
really happened?
I was told, not by one, not by two, but three very big sources, that I was cut because MTV found out I had kids. The story goes, you know how the making the band with Da Band with Sarah Stokes,
Yes.
how big of a deal it was that she had three kids, she had a husband, and all this other stuff. Well, because of that, MTV decided they didn't want anyone that had any family ties. If you had a boyfriend, a husband, especially if you had kids, they didn't want to deal with that. So that is why myself, Chelsea, and Malika all got cut the same day. If you remember, the sources that told me, and I don't know if you knew this.
I didn't know any of this. This is breaking news for Dominique.
So I was told by Slim from 112. I was told from Dawn of Danny DeCane slash Dirty Money and Andre Harrell himself that I was actually chosen to be in the group. But because MTV found out I had kids and all that stuff, they decided to put D Woods in instead.
Girl, you better spill all this hot tea
Well, I
that
got
I didn't see coming or spilling. What?
I didn't find this out until years later. It was 2008 that Slim told me that. And then I ended up on like a red carpet going to a Diddy party in Hollywood.
Did you say going to a Diddy party?
Yes, I went to a Diddy party. But I did
Was
not
there
stay afterwards.
I was about to say, was there baby oil
Nay,
included or not?
nay. I didn't stay for no afterwards. Okay, I knew back then. No.
So
But
wait, but you've been to a Diddy party.
I've been at least like 4.
Girl, we coming back to that. We coming back
We
to that. We are
we gonna come back to
absolutely.
that. Yes.
Okay.
Me and Dawn ran
Whoa,
into
this
each
is
other.
big news.
We ran into each other on a red carpet at a Diddy party. This was shortly after Diddy had just came out with what was his boy group? I can't, my brain.
Day 26.
Day 26. So they're going across the red carpet, Danny Kane and Day 26, and I'm standing at the end, and Dawn is like, "Oh my God!" And so we hug on the red carpet, we take pictures, we go inside, and she was like, "You know that you were chosen for the group," but like, I was like, "Yes, Slim just told me this. He just told me this that I was chosen for the group, but because I had 2 kids, they didn't want to deal with that. They thought it was a liability or whatever, so they decided to go on D Woods." And she was like, "Yes, quiet as kept." But years later,
I am flabbergasted right now.
I was at my friend, he would throw these events over on Melrose, and I ran into Andre Harrell there. And I went up to him and I was like, "Andre, do you remember me?" He said, "I remember your face." And I said, "Making the band." And he was like, "Amber." And I was like,
Wow.
"Yes." He said, "You know, I chose you for that group, right?" I said, "Ah, I
You're
keep
like
being told
you're like, if
this."
I hear this from one more person, I ain't in the group. So we can completely kill the narrative
Kill the
that
narrative.
Amber got cut from making a band for helping Dominique with the dance, because
Yep.
that ain't what happened.
That's
That
not
ain't
what
what happened.
happened. Never happened.
But let's go back to that moment, because
Okay.
at the time you didn't know
Yeah.
that it was anything related to your children, your family, your home life. So you hear your name, what goes through your brain?
I was devastated. I was so hurt. Again, crybaby. I was super hurt because I was like, I worked really hard to get here. I wasn't really having a good life back home with my kid's dad. Like things just weren't good back home as well. So I was like, this was supposed to be my big break. What is happening? Like I was devastated. I was really, really hurt behind that. But I had to try to not show it on camera. But yeah, they made it seem like I was being cut for my dancing. And I'm like, but it's only maybe about like 6 of us in here that can actually dance. What do you mean you cut me for my dancing?
And girl, I wasn't one of them. I know it doesn't compare to your devastation, but I was devastated. I feel now I gotta go back and look because I feel like we like were crying with each
Yeah,
other
we
after you got
were.
cut. That was I didn't like it.
I was
I didn't like it
heartbroken.
one bit. I
I
didn't
was
like it one
heartbroken.
bit. So what happens? What's the immediate thing that happens when you go home?
I got back home and all of a sudden, miraculously, my kid's dad wants to propose. That was weird. Like the day I got back,
Is this good news or bad
it was
news?
not good news.
Okay.
Lord
Okay.
Jesus,
Okay.
it was not good
Respect.
news. Because, like I said, my home life, it just wasn't. It wasn't working. It wasn't happy, and I think he thought, let me go ahead and try to lock this in now because she's doing big things and stuff like that. By the blood of Jesus, we didn't get married. Thank you, Jesus. I remember me and Malika, we kind of like bonded a lot more. We started traveling back and forth from Oakland to LA, going to like all these different events. We did that for a minute. We kept going to LA. We kept going to different events. We kept networking with a lot of people.
So going back to our time on the show,
Yeah.
do you have a most memorable moment or a most memorable experience from that time?
Woo. My most memorable moment is when Lorianne Gibson tried to embarrass me.
Remind me, tell me.
I remember when we were told Diddy was going to show up to one of our dance rehearsals. Do you
Yep.
remember that day? So we all got dressed up.
Start, yeah, I was gonna say start telling, and it's gonna click.
We all was like, oh, Diddy's going to come to this rehearsal. Let's dress, up. Let's dress cute or whatever. I remember I had these big, gaudy looking gold earrings. They were kind of heavy. We were doing the dance to Sherry Dennis.
Oh my gosh, yes, I remember this. Yes, I
We were
remember
doing the
this.
dance to Sherry Dennis and we were doing a lot of bouncing and stuff. And my earrings was like heavy. And I remember I took them off and I just turned around and tossed them and turned back around. She said, hold that music. Did you just interrupt my? I was like, I didn't know I interrupted. I literally just took
I
my
re-
ears off and turned it.
yep.
And she said, go over there with the losers. You go over there in the corner with the losers because you didn't come prepared. And I'm like, I'm not a loser. You are a loser today. And I was just like,
This didn't air. This didn't air.
that part of her calling me a loser didn't. They cut that part out when she was like, you're a loser. Go over there with the losers today. And then that's when she had her famous speech. There's a whole lot of kittens out there ready to get that milk. Remember that line?
To lick that milk.
Ready to lick that milk.
It's a batch full of new kittens ready to lick that milk.
You better come prepared. You better that was that day that she had that little famous little quote or whatever. We went back to the lofts and I wasn't broken, but it was just like you really tried to like diminish my light on camera. Just because I took off some heavy ass earrings. And I was kind of like tearing up. I'm on my bunk bed. My back is turned towards the outside, so I'm facing the wall. And I remember like I'm literally just having a moment to myself, and I turned over and the camera was like right there, and I was like, I wanted to punch him. Like,
Because
get
that's
the
the thing. It was easy to get used to the cameras for me. Oh,
yeah,
it was easy to get used to the cameras until you had a moment of real vulnerability.
yeah,
Because not when I'm out here feeling my feelings and crying, because now I want to chop your throat.
yeah, that
Like
part.
you, okay, back up. That was when I had those moments. I don't want to turn around and there's a camera literally here, shadow
Yeah,
on my
right
face.
here. Like I could lick it. It was that close. The
Yeah.
next day I came back, and I think that's when I had on that all like orange or tangerine velour jumpsuit and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm about to show this dance. You sat up here and try to call me a loser on camera and say I couldn't dance. I'm gonna show you. And then that's when she was like, yes, yes, little muff, you better work, little.
At the time, I was so oblivious to the TV aspect
Mm-hmm.
of what we were doing.
Yeah.
While we were filming, we were filming. So in the moment, those moments of embarrassment, I mean, I kept getting called out for not being able to dance. And there are so many quotable moments, Dominique Edge, and you better be so glad you can sing, and all those moments. I wasn't considering how much of this is for TV,
Yeah.
like the effect and the drama of TV and ratings and pulling people in for entertainment versus just this is what happens in the industry. I didn't have a lot of exposure to know what was real and what was fake. It all felt very real for me while we were filming.
You also got to remember we were at the beginning of reality TV. Like we were one of the first reality TV shows.
Yeah. First of all, people make a living on reality TV now, and we
Yes.
got paid $100 a week. So there was no you out here about to be on reality TV making a living. You were going
That
to make a
part.
living if you made it into the group or if you made it to the end. I literally
We got a per
pulled out
diem of
one of my pay
$200.
stubs from that time. We got paid $100 a week per diem, and it was $91 after taxes.
Yep.
And we had to clothe ourselves. We had to feed ourselves.
Yep.
We had to do our own makeup, except for in confessionals.
Yep.
Like it's, I feel like we walked so they could, or we crawled so they could walk. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. Do you remember me doing half the damn cast's makeup and stuff like that in the bathroom? Everybody kept coming to me asking me to do their makeup.
Ma'am, you taught me stuff. I didn't come on that show with no makeup skills. I didn't. I'm looking at y'all like, wait, okay, what we doing? A eyelash. Okay, give me a I did not come on that show knowing how to beat a face at all. My little basics that I can do, okay, started with you.
That's so. But you know, I ended up like literally right after I got off the show, I went and got a job with Mac and was with them from 2005 to the pandemic.
Doing makeup?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
All
what
rounded
I do
talent.
now. I'm a on-set makeup artist and all that.
I love
Costumes
that.
and everything. So yeah.
So you have, even if not singing today, stayed in the industry or
Yeah,
proximate to the industry.
absolutely.
Why?
I mean, my mom still has footage of me being 5 years old in her thigh-high boots that came up to my chest, saying that I was going to be in entertainment. I was like, I'm gonna be in the entertainment for my whole life. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna buy you a house. Like it's on video. But
Wow.
my whole family is in entertainment. My cousin is Lenny Williams. My other cousin is E40. My dad used to be a professional comedian. His crew was Paul Mooney and Red Fox and all of them and stuff like that. So like my whole family,
Whoa.
yeah, my whole family is in entertainment. So I just kind of, my parents just pushed that. Even if I decided I didn't want to sing anymore, I'm either gonna do some acting or, like I said, I do makeup on set and all those things. So yeah, I still got some toes in the industry.
Wow.
So,
Wow. 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 Now, let's get back to these Diddy parties you attended. Do you have a sound bite for what is going on with this man today?
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, the parties that I attended just felt like regular parties to me. I never saw anything that was like out of the norm at these parties. I do remember attending one, and it was in Vegas, and they kept like distributing a whole, I think, was that All-Star Weekend? I think it was All-Star Weekend in Vegas. And they kept like, dishing out a whole bunch of money and stuff like that. And people, I mean, at the time I was too immature to like walk past the money. I kept, y'all crazy. I'm picking up this damn money.
Go on and keep it real, because I probably would have done the same thing.
Because it wasn't just $1 bills. It was some $100 bills. It was some, 20s and stuff like that. Like, I think I came up on like $800-900 that night. Just, I'm like, y'all crazy. Why are y'all just walking past this? I had stuffed my whole bra. I didn't give but I didn't see anything out of the norm. I just knew not to stay afterwards. Because it was a different realm.
But how did you know that back then? That's my question. Was there something that you had heard in entertainment? Was there something you were privy to before it became news to the world that there's a problem in Diddy land? Why are you able to say I was not gonna stay at the after party?
I kind of sort of remember being told, like, the after parties get a little crazy. I wanted no parts of any of that type of stuff. So, yeah, it was nothing to me to just bounce, just leave or whatever. It was kind of like a known thing, like, yeah, you don't stay for an after party at Diddy's. Yeah, I never saw any of the girls with the food on them and everything. I never saw that, but
yeah. Sounds very dicey. I didn't have not one dicey experience with the man. I'm grateful to be able to say that, because I know that not everyone can say that, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets about your, it sounds like, long-standing career in the music industry?
There are a few regrets, a few things that I wish I would have went in a different direction in terms of like people that I've worked with. This industry is very, very treacherous. It's very treacherous. And they prey on who they think is weak. They prey on who they think doesn't have um, a team, a backing that, that comes with them. Oh, you're by yourself? Oh, okay. So I'm going to prey on you. I'm going to, you know what I mean? It definitely made me take a break. It made me back up from entertainment for a while. And I had to it had me questioning myself. Like, do I really want this? Do I really want to be in this industry? Am I actually talented enough to do this? Am I strong enough to do this? Because when I tell you they will test the out of you, they will test you. And so that's kind of where we are today.
Well, let me say this to you. When I met you 20 years ago, you were so real. You were so sweet. Every all the vibes, all the energy between us was magnetic. I feel that today in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how in your mind you like, this person really rock with me or nah? The people don't know. You flew all the way from the Bay to come to I think it was my 23rd birthday, that you flew into the DMV where I was living, because that's where I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
And girl, we partied hard.
Yes,
Do
we
you
did.
remember that? Oh
yes.
my gosh, we had such a time.
Yes, we did.
We were in Love Nightclub.
Yes, we
okay. having a really good time. I don't
had a
remember
really
if it was
good
called
time.
Love or Dream at that time, because the name kept switching. And listen,
Yes.
Uncle Sam, that don't have nothing to do with me. But baby, we were in there all night long.
Yes.
And we had so much fun. And I'm grateful to still be connected to you.
I know.
Today. I love that you have just never, it sounds like, never been afraid to take the risk, to bet on yourself, to try to tap into the family entertainment gene because it's inspiring. It's something like I've been saying to myself, and even on camera, I've been afraid to turn on the camera and do this, despite knowing that I'm meant to do this.
Yes.
Fear can get you.
Yes, it
Fear
can.
can get into you in that way.
It can play mind games.
Yeah, and a through line I hear in this conversation with you is, okay, Fear, like, no, I'm out here. I had this baby. I went to the auditions. I ain't make it. Went to the auditions again. Okay, we out. Everybody get in the van. We on our way to LA. What's up?
Right.
That is something that not everybody has, and something that you have to have in order to get to certain heights. You got, people say, what's the phrase? You got to be a little crazy, to believe in the miracle level things that can and should happen for us. And I feel like I heard that in your story today.
Yeah.
I love you down.
I love
you down, Amber. I'm so grateful for you to have joined me today.
Proud of you, Dominique.
Thank you.
Really, I really am. I really, really am. I'm very, very proud of you. You have always been a very solid, sweet, caring person, and I think that's why we clicked. I literally, again, I'm a crybaby. When you had your twins, I cried. I was like, oh my gosh, my baby had babies.
Because, girl, your kids grown.
Yes, they're grown.
When we met 20 years ago, you have 2 children or 3?
2.
When we met 20 years ago, you had both of them already.
Yeah.
So I'm out here. I need the tips from you, girl, because I only started 5 years ago.
I mean, my youngest, the one that I had right before the auditions, he will be 21 on the 24th of this month.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that crazy? And my daughter, she'll be 24 this year.
Have either of them chosen entertainment?
So they're both modeling.
It's in the family.
It's in the family. They're both
modeling.
In the family.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, Jackson family, Knowles family. Just keeping it going through the generations of entertainment. My gosh. Thank you for joining me on Storytelling with Dominique Renee. Anything else you want to say to the people before we go?
I actually am in the process of writing a TV show. It's loosely based on my life. About being in the industry and all this stuff. And so, I'm pretty excited about it. And yeah, just be on the lookout for that. It will include some of our
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you were the first guest on Storytelling with Dominique Renee. Yeah. So that's big. I love you so much. This isn't the end. Well, first of all, this ain't the end of us off camera. You already know that.
Yes.
But I got my wheels turning about getting some of the girls together, the Making the Band alums. Okay. MTV should have did their own reunion, but since they didn't,
20-year anniversary.
Yeah, we gonna figure out how to get the girls together. Let's do it. Thank you, Amber. I love you down. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Peace. Amber, my girl. I hope y'all enjoyed that as much as I did, because I love a little memory lane moment and sharing it with someone else. Oh, that's why I'm here. I'm really, really enjoying myself, if you can't tell. But I gotta go be a mama and a wife and, all the other things that I do. But before I go, make sure y'all come back here next week. I'm out, but never lose sight of the fact that ain't no story like a Dominique Renee story. Peace.
I'm sad today.
Why?
You just get in this world where you think, oh, this is gonna be it forever.
Right.
Then the reality sets in. You never know who could be next.
I'm gonna keep my head up high. I do not regret this at all. I've had the time of my life.
Amber and I've just grown so close over the past couple of weeks. It hurt. I did not expect Amber to be going home at all.